Dungeon Masters of Reddit, what is the most surprising thing your players have done in-game? When presented with a jailbreak mission, they didn't attack through the sewers, over the walls, or through the main gate. Instead, they got jobs at the prison as janitors, cooks, and jailers. Motherfucker, that's called a job. And then after we served our time we just walk out through the front door. During an adventure to an elven city, one of my players started a sundial wristwatches pyramid scheme. Sob managed to pull it off with high charisma rolls. Now it's a running joke throughout the campaign. Everywhere the party goes is a sales opportunity for sundial wristwatches. Inspiration to us all. Not a DM here, but my group once did a pretty cool thing. So, my character was a sorcerer, and got petrified by a goddamn basilisk. Now, instead of finding a diamond, or whatever it was, to unpetrify me, they sold me as a statue for a good amount of gold. I had to make a new character. My friends are dicks. On the bright side, given how other stories unfold, your old character is likely now being worshipped as a deity and will return to smite your old party after enough blood sacrifices are given to bring him back from the dead, complete with dark forces at his disposal. Edit. Holy buggery, sudden point acquisitions. I heard one YouTuber say, we encountered an undead that deals freezing damage to anything it touches. They managed to take its head off, but since it's undead it continued living. They used its head to make a club-like weapon that talks and deals freeze damage. Once we encountered a shrunken head that could talk. I ended up adopting it and reading it The Art of War and shit like that for months. Eventually I found a pole, stuck the head on the pole, and convinced my DM that because the shrunken head was well versed in combat tactics, this counted as a battle standard of might. From then on, Philip the shrunken head gave us +1 to damage by shouting encouragement and advice from the top of a stick. We did a similar thing once with a necromancer. He couldn't be killed, so we decapitated him and impaled his head on the bow of our ship and sailed away while his body slowly swam after us. Eventually we made friends with him and the head became our watchman, confidant. Until one day his body caught up with the boat. Edit. So here's what happened. Sorry, I made food, didn't think anyone would see this. One night while we were in harbor, the body swam up to the ship. It climbed up and reclaimed the head and we all started panicking. Half the crew thought he would still be our friend, but the other half attacked High Monsieur, so I joined in attacking him since I'm an idiot, and we were losing bad. So I used my flaming rapier, and convinced our cleric to cast grease on the necromancer. He does this and I decapitate him again. But I start a massive grease fire. So now his head rolls off the ship. Everything's on fire. Everyone is shouting at me. And the necromancer's like, dude. And the short of it is I ended up destroying the ship. Half the crew deserted and we lost our treasure. Good news was the necromancer survived again, and is still our friend. The game is ongoing, so when my DM gets back I'll have to redeem myself. I gave my players a little more free will than a typical story arc, just to see what would happen. They inevitably went evil, ransacking every town, becoming a roving band of bandits, torturing key NPCs for info. When they got to a major city they couldn't walk through the main gate because of the bad reputation they gained, so they snuck in, took the king hostage, and launched him over the walls from a catapult, claiming the city. When they finally met the main antagonist of my story arc, instead of killing the Dark Lord, the Dark Lord joined the party because the party gained an incredibly evil reputation. It was a hilarious story arc. I want to gouge out his eye. You don't have a weapon on you. I'll use my thumb. Quote. Sigh. Roll for unarmed, I guess. Player. I cast death spell. Me. Great. Do you target the cultist swinging the golden ritual sickle, or the one holding the screaming baby? Quote. Player. I target the baby. Me. Quote. Quote. Can't sacrifice a living infant if the infant is dead. Guys got a solid plan tbh. No baby equals no sacrifice equals no ritual. Clever move. How'd it work out? My players once pooled all of their cash at about level 4 to buy a tavern and retire instead of following the plot any further. That was it. Campaign over. They decided to play medieval fantasy It's Always Sunny. Let them have their 15 minutes of fun. Then, after a few weeks, a neighboring tavern or crime syndicate sees their new purchase and starts pressuring them for insurance money. The rates they charge continue to increase day after day, week after week, to the point that either their tavern goes broke, or they need to fight back. The guards are in on it, so there's no help there. If they try to go back to their tavern life after doing anything of note to the opposition, either the guards show up due to their crimes, or a group of adventurers if they have taken care of the corrupt guards. They attacked an army, literally. Not sure what their end goal was, but 5 players taking on 10,000 plus orcs is not the way I would have gone. Shot the module we were playing, and had to improvise for about a month. We never did get back to the original story. Edit: no, they did not win. They were swarmed by 100 or so orcs and the orc captain was impressed with their fighting capabilities. They were imprisoned and used as practice for a few weeks until the thief convinced an orc to join them and they escaped. They were pursued all over the countryside until the opposing army finally arrived. From what I remember, this was better than the original module. Via a combination of spells, alchemy, and teamwork, they enlarged the wizard's raven familiar, shrunk the gnome, glued the gnome to the raven, and had the raven fly along city walls while the gnome lobbed spells at the guards. I should play D&D ROFL. No, you roll on the table. If you roll on the floor you'll have to chase your dice across the room, monsieur. My players saved a bartender's daughter from cultists, as well as some other townsfolk. Returned to town, sent everyone home and walked the girl to the tavern. Entered the door to the tavern, talked to a person coming IUT, got distracted, took the bartender's daughter with him through 17 sessions and taught her how to be an archer, against her protests of wanting to go home. Alright, thanks guys. I've got it from here. No, we must bring you to your father and nothing less. Come along, this will only take a moment. I'm really sorry, Ms. Bartender. We didn't even see this ambush coming either. Just stay back and make sure not to get hit. I can see the tavern's light. Can't I just walk over there? Quote, no, don't be unreasonable. This city is a dangerous place. Roll initiative please. Will ya? Quote, we're really sorry, Susie. They're on a first-name basis by now. But these men and women are trying to overthrow the king. It is our, and your duty as a citizen of the realm to prevent this. Can you just hold on to this? I need both hands to cast my spells. Pointy end towards the bad guys. It's like you were there. This always happens to my group. Of course your basic laborer is making like a silver a week or something. So when they offer Jim the crate unloader a job at 1 gold a month, he's like, hell yeah, I'll watch your horse and wagon while you go into the dungeon. Then they start training him how to use a crossbow, then teach him how to brace a spear. Next thing you know, one of the players die and they decide they want to play as Jim the crate mover. There was a door that responded to sound. The idea was that you had to make enough noise to unlock the door. But there was a monster, specifically a stringy-haired ghost girl, that would hear the noise, be alerted to the party and attack. After not finding a way into the room, one of my PCs started venting his in-character frustrations at the door, which started to open the lock, since it was a lot of noise. Seeing it work, my other PC started to cry and scream their deepest regrets, angers, and hopes at the door. This went on for a while, with half of my PCs having in-game existential crises. The door eventually opened, and the ghost girl never attacked out of a mixture of pity and empathy. Ha ha ha, I'm definitely putting a door of regrets in the next dungeon. Another fun door is the one that only opens if you speak a secret out loud to it. At which point it lets exactly that person through to the next room before slamming shut again. It means that the first person to go throughout has to have his first secret heard by the entire party. But the last person to go through gets to keep their secret entirely between them and the door. Also, the door that can speak, and the only way to get it to open is to catch it in a lie. Or it has a name shown on an engraving above it, and the only way to make it open is to get it to say its own name. Also, the door with a lock that looks and is very easy to pick, but it turns out that picking the lock is a huge turn-on for the door. Not a difficult puzzle, but a very unsettling one. Asterisk. And then after you've done all that, you give them a door that isn't locked and see how long it takes them to just try to open it like a normal door. It'll probably be at least 10 minutes. Asterisk. Pathfinder. We have a barbarian that does a stupid amount of damage on a horse. Naturally, when it came time for them to enter a dungeon, I said his horse got spooked and refused to enter. Plus, it was a little small for a horse anyhow. They go into the dungeon. Eventually, though, the ranger realizes he's been carting his large snake around constantly and it's been dealing enough damage to be relevant. So he asks the barbarian just what exactly can he ride. Barbarian says any large creature. The snake is a large creature. They defeated the dungeon by having the barbarian charge someone on a fucking snake. Absolutely unexpected. Greater than eventually, though, the ranger realizes he's been carting his large snake around constantly and it's been dealing enough damage to be relevant. So he asks the barbarian just what exactly can he ride. Hot. It was only surprising the first time, but I had a friend who always played a cleric. Every single time, his character would buy the largest mount he could get, an elephant, usually. Then he'd ride it to death, make dry rations from its meat, animate it, fit it with heavy barding and travel around in comfort from inside its now padded rib cage. Basically a cross between an RV and a tank. My last session they focused on the governor of a town, and the gnome in my group began trying to get permission to court his daughter. Long story short, we are taking a break from the real campaign because I had to homebrew a debutante ball where all members of the party will be competing for the daughter's hand in marriage. Now I legitimately want to play a Pride and Prejudice campaign where the ball is full of burly orcs in dresses. You definitely should. Writing it was surprisingly fun. I made sure to write in a lot of twists with the rival family. The key though is over-explaining every food dish that comes out. The party discovered an ancient ruin containing a massive relic that could open portals to other planes. The idea being it was like the castle in Mario 64. And they'd have various dimensional adventures while discovering the disturbing secrets within the ruins. Here's what actually happened. 1. Open a portal to the plane of alcohol. 2. Build a pipeline out of the plane of alcohol. 3. Set up a distribution center. 4. Take over the national alcohol market by undercutting competition thanks to their low cost of supply. 5. Establish a monopoly on all liquor. Great. Then it got weird. 6. Defeat an evil alchemist experimenting with undead. 7. Discover his formulas to turn living people into mindless undead. 8. Put the formula into the alcohol supply. 9. Acquire an army of undead alcoholics. 10. Use the army to fight the fucking lich that they ignored for the whole goddamn campaign. Ignored. Sounds like effective long-term planning to me. Yeah, but it turned them all evil. They became obsessed with a random loom I threw in as flavor text. Our Sora crit failed his arcana check on it, which convinced him that it was the loom of great important. Demonic rites were performed on it to help them make decisions and carted it around everywhere they went. They started a band called the Lumineers. Their secret society was called the Illuminati, the Fellowship of the Loom to Outsiders. loom puns for days. Rather than kill some hired thug that attacked them, they subdued him, tied him up, and questioned him. They gave him a name, Jimothy, and let him go, telling him that he was a good strong lad who'd be better suited to a job in construction than this murdering business. I threw in a cameo of him later, happy in his new job. This reminds me of Buggy, an orc we took captive and kept as a pet. When he died, we all took a 15 minutes break to honor him. Edit. His name was Nuggy, not Buggy, my bad. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.